Firstly, I'll start with a little story. Once at a hospital, I saw a nurse walk by, and we had a little quick discussion about God. And this lady just said to me, well, how do you know that God exists? And I said, why won't you believe that God, a creator, exists? She said, I've never seen him. I've never seen him, never heard him. So I just replied very quickly to get her thinking, and I said, well, you know, we can't see oxygen, but I can breathe it. And she said, oh, and she gave it a thought. Said, that's an intelligent answer. Of course, that's not the only evidence, but I wanted her to think intuitively, within her instinct, that there are so many things around you that can point and guide you to maybe believing in the Creator. And I've just given you one avenue of thinking. Another time I was at a university, and we had a group of Christian missionaries sitting at a table. There was about 4 or 5 of them. I think they were preaching born-again Christianity. They were giving out new Bibles. And there was a young man, probably in his early 20s, debating with them, and they were finding it a challenge with him. This young man was an atheist, and my friends started nudging me. We were giving out some pamphlets for a speaker that was coming down. This was more than 30, maybe about 25 years ago. And they said, why don't you start a debate? I said, I don't like debating. But listening to the atheist speak, the Christians are trying to convince him that God exists, and the atheist is using some really strong arguments. And I didn't want the atheist to be right, because obviously Christians are correct that God exists, and we agree on that. So I kind of jumped in, and I asked the atheist a simple question. I said, if an archaeologist finds a pot in the desert, and the archaeologist with their team studies that pot and finds a lot of strange writings and pictures and images on that pot, and he and his team start to, work chronologically, what do they say, and they break the code, and then they come with a conclusion, writing a big report saying that a particular civilization lived here 4,000 years ago, they looked like this, they dressed like that, they spoke like this, but they believed in that. Even though it was a long time ago, they've never seen them or witnessed them. I said, would you believe that archaeologists with their findings, such as the Egyptians and the hieroglyphics? He said, yeah, this is what we call, empirical evidence. I said, all right, let's use that same evidence and apply it to what you see around you right now. You're the archaeologist. I want you to look at that tree right next to you. It has a branch, it has a trunk, it has leaves. It obviously has a way of surviving. You can see it right in front of you. Give it some thought. Do you think a human made it? No, a human planted it. Well, what keeps it living? The sunlight, photosynthesis. Okay. What keeps this mechanism going? Who began this process? What's maintaining it? So through thought after thought, I said, just like the archaeologist, why don't you give it a bit more thought? Think of the strongest, most powerful, intelligent human being in the world, because obviously humans are much more intelligent than animals. But you wouldn't say an animal is maintaining the tree, or created its existence, and created the laws surrounding it. So I said, could a human being have created this phenomena, the tree? He gave a smirk and said, look, I know where you're coming from. All right? This is called, by the way, inductive reasoning. I want to go through them with you. And he said to me, well, I can see where you're coming from. You're making sense. If I keep following this logical progression, I should arrive at a higher being beyond the human. He said, but you're telling me that God has a son, and that son died, And if you're telling me God gets married as a family, as a son, what makes him different to me? I can't accept a creator of this magnificent universe to be something similar to me. That's his logic. I said to him, no, God has no son, no partners. And I recited, Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Say, He is Allah, the one and only. He is the As-Samad, the eternal and the all-knowing and the all-wise, the one who has no beginning or end. He does not father anyone, nor is he fathered by anyone, and there is nothing like unto him or any partner associated with him whatsoever. And wallahi, he said to me that, now that makes much more sense for me to start my journey of discovery. And he took my pamphlets and started giving them out. So I turned to the lovely young ladies and men that were sitting at the table, and they said, that was magnificent, you kept your cool and everything. I said, yeah, there's no need. When you speak with truth and facts and with reasoning, there's no need to be upset. And they thought I was Christian, actually. So I said to them, well, I'm a Muslim. And I think the problem with your argument was not that you're saying that God exists, but rather how you've described the nature of this God. You made him put off by making him similar to a human. Anyway, the story is long. That's another part. We went on for about 3 hours after that, and it made a big fiasco at the university. Alhamdulillah, it was before social media. But the thing that affected the born-again Christians, alhamdulillah, I was able to, bi'idhnillah, Allah guided me to silence them a lot. But what affected them was not the debate. I remember what affected them was reciting the Qur'an. Every time I had an opportunity, I would recite verses of the Qur'an. And wallahi, brothers and sisters, I think we had about 200-300 people, university students surrounding us by that time. Everybody was really intrigued by the debate. But everybody went quiet whenever I recited Qur'an. About Surah Maryam, about Surah Al-Ikhlas. And I still remember one of them, the main head, his name was Joshua. And he said to me, what are those words? They sound amazing. I said, that's Qur'an. That's God's final words in the Qur'an. And he wanted a copy. He wanted to hear it. But they were very genuine. Very genuine. That's why, brothers and sisters, I don't like debates. Debates put the guards up. But if you speak about your deen with knowledge, without needing to put other people's religion down, I think you'll find that people listen better. And alhamdulillah, that was just 2 stories I want to start with. Why did I start with these stories while we are talking about the angels? You see, brothers and sisters, the angels are from the world of the unseen. The angels are metaphysical. They are supernatural. So the evidence of their existence cannot be proven through science, because science deals with the physical and natural world. And some people make the mistake of using science to prove the existence of unseen phenomena and unseen beliefs that the Qur'an told us about. The moment I use science to prove the existence of God or the angels or the hereafter, I'm going to fail in that argument. Why? Because the scientific method is about something called, I'm going to be a bit technical with you, I'll try and make it easy, empirical evidence. Empirical evidence is based on observation, experimentation, measurement, falsification. You have to have a way where you can try to falsify it, but you have to use the same means. You can't do that with the angels. How do you observe them? How do you experiment? How do you bring part of angels and experiment and put it to trial in order to prove their existence and their abilities? You don't have any access to them. How do you measure their abilities and what they're made of? And how do you falsify it? Because in science, it doesn't deal with it. But it doesn't mean they don't exist. And a good scientist won't say to you, just because through the scientific method you can't prove something, that means it doesn't exist. A good scientist. A biased scientist, a culturally influenced scientist, a scientist with desires or wants to be an influencer and so on, or after some leadership or power, or even affected by religion, a scientist will not be able to use science properly. But a good scientist will tell you, look, this is the scientific method. We can use it to draw conclusions, but we cannot prove God or the angels or the hereafter or the soul through science. So science has limitations. You need to understand that. Some of its limitations are science does not deal with supernatural phenomena because it cannot observe them and experiment them. It doesn't deal with intuition. Intuition are instinctive feelings that we're born with. You can't explain it. It's subjective. You feel it. You know it. It's instinctive. That gut feeling. Science cannot deal with the aspect of love or hate or aesthetics. I like blue, the other person likes pink. Science can explain this psychological process, but it cannot draw conclusions. Is blue better or is pink better, or is your choice better or not? It can't say anything about that. It can't talk about ethics or morals. It can't talk about a lot of things. A lot of things are beyond the grasp of science still. It goes on and on. But brothers and sisters, to believe in the angels, you have to take a step back. Before you're believing in angels, you need to believe in something before it, which will then prove the angels.